Hi, this is Ed Spurliers. I hope you enjoy this latest episode of Random Trek. Thank you very much. Yeah?
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Random Trek. I am your fearless captain, Christopher Ingle, joined as always by First Officer Commander Brennan, the Mystical Mar. Brennan, how we doing today?
Life signs fading.
I hope not. But today...
No, my life signs are good today.
Yeah, okay. Today, we are taking a look at Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 2, Disengage. The true introduction of the Shrike and its Captain Vadic.
Oh, yes.
How do we feel going into this one? It's been about 2 years since we saw this.
Well, I mean, it's Season 3 of Picard, so, I mean, that's automatically great. Even though it's 10 episodes, it is consistently a great season.
Yeah, it is. It is really great. Second one in, and it introduces what, in my opinion, should go down as one of the best Star Trek villains in Star Trek history. And we'll get into discussing Vadic here in a little while, but just my initial feelings when I first saw it. Oh, I love Vadic, and now watching it now, I can't help but see a little bit of a certain Klingon general. But we'll talk about it.
There might be some similarities.
They might have talked with each other in the past. Who knows? We'll get to talking about it. All right. So we'll just do a quick, brief rundown of what happens in episode 2. So last time, first episode of the season, Picard and Riker beam over to the Helios, which is where Beverly is supposed to be, and they find Beverly in medical stasis. And they come across a young man named Jack as a very large and imposing ship appears off the port bow. This ship is the Shrike. And at first, we don't quite know a lot about it. But they are attempting to transport Jack off of the Helios. They end up getting a hold of the Helios with a tractor beam. Meanwhile, Seven finally manages to persuade Liam Shaw to intervene, and they go in after Picard and Riker. Beverly's transported to the Titan medical bay, and then Picard, Riker, and Jack are brought immediately to the bridge.
But we should point out that Captain Shaw isn't very happy with Seven right now.
Oh, Captain Shaw's not happy with anybody.
This is Captain Shaw during his jerk days.
He's cranky. He's cranky a lot.
and we must say that the actor, I forget the actor's name, is excellent.
Oh, who? Captain Shaw?
Yeah.
Oh, how do we forget Todd Stashwick?
Todd Stashwick. There we go.
We like Stashwick. I do. I really like Stashwick. But all that aside, so the Shrike's captain is a bounty hunter named Vadic, and the captain of the Shrike says, "Hey, Jack is an intergalactic criminal," and we've seen that Jack has been known to play fast and loose with the rules and the law, and he did. He's a little bit of a rogue and a scoundrel, but he's wanted by a lot of systems. So Shaw has Jack arrested and is going to turn him over in order to save his crew. Picard and Riker are against this. Do not do this. This is wrong. Meanwhile, we get Raffi, who is frustrated because she's ordered by code a Starfleet intelligence to stop her investigation of the attack on Earth. She needs to stop, period. But of course, she's not going to listen. So she meets with a Ferengi criminal by the name of Sneed, who's kind of the intermediary, and wants to find out who is responsible. Fortunately, Sneed figures out pretty fast, despite Raffi's best attempts, what Raffi is up to and attempts to kill her, and comes close, but she is saved by none other than Worf,
Dun,
who it turns
dun,
out
dun, dun.
is her handler. We go back.
We got to do the Klingon theme. Dun, 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 dun.
Worf, son of Moog
Oh,
of the
excellent.
House of Martok. Oh, anyway, so back on the Titan, Jack escapes custody, and he's going to turn himself over in order to save his mother. He wants to save his mother.
Yeah.
It goes on without saying he is. We discovered early on he is Beverly's son.
Yep.
Yep. But Riker wakes Beverly up from the medical stasis that she's in and helps her to the bridge. And when Picard sees her, Picard just needed to look to figure out that Jack is his son.
Dun, dun, dun.
And not like a past episode of Next Generation where we thought Picard had a son, but it was a lie. No, he actually is Picard's son.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, and he looks over at Shaw. But Shaw's basically like, why should I save this guy? What? That's my son. And Shaw is like, oh, crap. All right,
Yeah.
shields up. We got to go. Shaw's not going to let Picard's son go. It's not going to happen. So knowing also that Picard's not going to hand over his son, Shaw orders the Titan to go hide in a nebula, and Vadic gives chase.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So what do we think with this one?
Well, this one's interesting because not a lot happens in it, but it does set up important things.
Yeah, it's not big on the action, although we do discover how the start of how imposing the Shrike can be in the next episode, and the fourth episode. We really learn what the Shrike can do.
So in this one, we do see a tractor beam throw the Helios at the Titan.
That won't come into play later. Not at all.
No.
But yeah, they do. They toss the Helios at them, and like, dang. And the Shrike is foreboding. And you know what? It reminds me, somebody must have been inspired by the scimitar from Nemesis.
Yes.
Because this really was giving me Nemesis vibes. The ship, at least.
Yeah, particularly when they do the rundown of all the weapons and armaments on it.
Mm-hmm. This is a powerful ship. And we know nothing about these guys other than what Vadic is telling us. Now, Vadic. I gotta talk Vadic, and every time this season comes up, we're gonna talk Vadic.
Yes.
Because the reality is there are two characters in this entire series that truly made this series have some gravitas and heft behind its regular cast. And that is Todd Stashwick as Liam Shaw, Captain Liam Shaw.
Oh, yes.
And Amanda Plummer, Christopher Plummer's daughter, as Vadic.
I tell you, she is chewing the scenery with so much glee.
I really expected her at some point to go, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. And I mean that.
She would do that, yes.
It really did remind me of the scene, the end scene in Star Trek VI, where her father, Christopher Plummer, was reveling in being able to attack the Enterprise and they couldn't see him.
I am constant as the Northern Star.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could imagine her quoting Shakespeare and...
Mm-hmm. And I couldn't tell what accent she was using. It was a little weird.
I'm not really sure.
But actually, I think that works to her character because it's imposing, it's menacing, it's kind of scary in a very kindly, threatening way. Almost.
And she has a very childlike voice.
You know what she reminds me of also is Miss Hannigan from Annie.
Yes,
this imposing,
exactly.
powerful woman who is not going to take anything from you.
Yeah, and then we see a little resemblance to her father.
Here is, and I would definitely say by the time when because they go in here into the nebula when the Shrike starts attacking the Titan in 3 and 4, see episodes 3 and 4. We really see what she can do. And she is scary.
Yeah. And
This is
gleeful in her
gleeful.
villainy.
But of course, I also mentioned Stashwick,
Oh,
and
yes.
you know, most of these captains that we see through history that are grumpy and cranky, we really don't like them. Now, me, I am a big fan of Captain Jellicoe. I love Captain Jellicoe, but even I would admit most people don't. And he's cranky and he's kind of grumpy and doesn't really listen to people. That's a whole other argument for a different day.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people didn't like him because of that. He wasn't approachable. He's not, any of that. Well, Stashwick also is not really approachable. He's a jerk. He's unkind. But like Jellicoe, he's the captain of the ship and is out there not to engage in the whims of everybody else. He is there for a mission and to protect his crew. And he's not even there for a mission. They're not supposed to be there.
Thank you, 709.
Yeah, well, she did the right thing.
Yes.
And every time he says Commander Hansen, I cringe. And you're supposed to, because
it's dead naming.
I was going to say, we've talked about this with other episodes. I think the finale with the dead name, we've talked about this. But yeah, we see him dead naming her, refusing to admit, what she is and accept what she is and who she is.
Captain 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Captain 7 now. Yeah, I love that. Please, Paramount, Star Trek Legacy. We want it. Please give it to us.
Yes. And I got to meet Ed Slayers, and he's awesome.
Yeah, I believe he was on our opening bumper the last week or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. He's played an interesting array of characters, and Jack Crusher is a great character.
I want to see more of him. I really do want more of him. He's fun.
Yep.
Anyway, and the stuff with Raffi is short, but I love seeing Raffi be Raffi, and she wants to do the right thing. But she's
a troubled character, but we like her anyway.
I wasn't too sure on this one. Does it seem like she's on the drugs again?
Yeah.
Some of the behaviors that she shows in this, and I understand why, and what she's saying is 100% right. But it feels like to me that there was an over emotion that we've seen when we first met her and she was on the drugs. So I wondered if being that she's not rogue, but she's off on her own on some black ops kind of things and, this kind of thing. I was wondering if she was back on whatever she was on.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because you get these communications with her handler. And you don't see who that person is. You just get these texts on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find out who it is, you go, oh, yeah, he would talk like that. Yep. Good old Commander Worf with his wonderful white goatee.
Captain Worf. That is Captain, sir.
That's true. That's Captain Worf. That's, using his sword very nicely.
So, that's another thing with this whole series that I love by the time the end of this. You know how many captains, commodores, and admirals we have out of the crew?
A lot.
A lot. No, and it reminds me of the original crew. Because the original crew broke protocol. Normally on a ship, you have one captain, period. Think back to Star Trek 1 when Kirk took over as an admiral, he temporarily demoted Decker to commander and first officer because traditionally you don't have more than one captain on a vessel. And if you play Star Trek Online, you cannot have more than one rank of captain on a vessel except yourself. Yourself, you can be a captain, but the rest of your crew, you can only get them up to commander, at least when I was playing it. And that's part of naval tradition. So I really loved when by Star Trek 6, Scotty was a captain. McCoy was rank of captain. Kirk obviously is a captain. Spock is a captain.
Yeah,
Sulu's a captain. Everybody's a captain.
it's Ultra. You get a captain. You get a captain.
This feels kind of similar to that because, and actually later we find that Beverly isn't actually an admiral.
Yeah,
Beverly's an admiral. Riker
Admiral
or
Crusher.
Picard's an admiral. Yeah. So I love everybody's a captain in this. It's great.
And is it just me, or is the crew of the Titan look like they are more willing to follow Seven's command than they are Captain Shaw's command?
Yeah, but I think they're designed by that. And one of the other things we have too are these slightly rebellious helmsmen.
Yes.
You ever notice this? Like,
Gee, a certain LaForge.
well, yeah, Sydney. It's Sydney LaForge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, LaForge, and she reminds me a little bit of a Tom Paris.
Yeah, Crash LaForge.
You know what? This whole crew is great. And can we talk about those uniforms? We change uniforms so often now in Star Trek, but I really like the Titan uniforms.
Yes, I do too.
It's crisp. It's clean. It isn't as rigid to me as the lower decks uniforms.
Yeah.
But it almost reminds me in spirit of the Monster Maroons. And I really like them. And I gotta say, I hate that we keep changing uniforms all the time. Even in Picard. Picard has changed uniforms every season.
Yes.
I don't like that. But I do like the Titan uniforms. I like seeing Seven in uniform.
Oh,
Like
yes.
all of these things, it works so well. This is a great episode, but more than that, this by far was the best season of Picard.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And until we got Strange New Worlds, I would have argued that this was the best season of Star Trek we had had in a very long time.
Agree with that, yes.
Oh, this is great. Well, final thoughts on this episode.
It's definitely not big on the action, but it does set up a lot of things that are going to be important later on. And if you're watching this season, you don't want to skip any episodes.
Yeah, skip none of it. Enjoy it, relish in a great Star Trek villain. Because that's one of the things that I've always hated about Star Trek is not being able to have often enough a single antagonist to focus on.
Yeah.
Even Voyager, though Voyager had the repeated villain of the Borg Queen, it wasn't often. It was a little too much, but it wasn't often enough. If that makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
But here, Amanda Plummer is the face of villainy here.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at like characters like Khan, characters like Chang, characters like Vedic.
And I will stand by it. I've said it before. I do not feel that Khan is, unless some people argue, Khan is the greatest villain Star Trek has ever known. I disagree with that. Guy has been in 2 films, two films and 1 episode. And as a kid in Strange New Worlds. I do not find him to be the greatest villain. Is he dangerous? Yes. Is he important? Yes. But I think we've had better villains. The Dominion as a whole was a far better villain, especially the female changeling. And Dukat, way better.
Actually, you know what? I would argue that, yeah. I mean, given the amount of screen time that Dukat gets, and the amount that we see him and we learn really about him, as far as villains, he definitely belongs in that top conversation.
Him, Eddington, DS9's got some good ones.
I mean, Mark Alamo who has been in every Star Trek series, I swear. As Dukat is magnificent. Because you really get to see the true face of villainy unraveled. Even for her short time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Wow. I was just peeking. I did not know that Amanda Plummer is a Tony and Emmy Award winner.
Yep. Yep.
So the gravitas is there, and they're all dramatic roles. I
And her
love
most famous role might be as Honey Bunny in Pulp Fiction.
that. I forget about that one. Not for Pulp Fiction, but I always forget about that.
Yeah, the hold up in the yeah. Hmm.
So different. So very different. But all that being said, this is worth the introduction of a great villain.
Yep.
Absolutely. And a great supporting cast. This is a tension builder. This is and kind of an exposition heavy one.
Yeah.
But when sometimes too much exposition can be bad, this is done at a great pace and very reasonable. And when you think they've given you everything, they haven't.
Nope. And also introducing Jack Crusher as Villiers, of course.
Mm-hmm. So much fun.
And really, this is a continuation of Jerry Ryan really getting to shine.
This was a redemption arc for her, if you can call it that, because I never really felt that there was enough in Voyager. There were times that she had some great stuff in
Yes, yes.
Voyager. I hope we get to review it one day. Do you remember the one where the entire crew was put into stasis and it
Yes.
was just
it's
her and the
just her.
doctor?
It's just
That
her.
was a great episode for her. And then although it was silly, the one where the doctor got in her neural net to hide.
Oh boy.
It's a silly, stupid episode, but I really like that Jerry got to step out of the normal Seven vein and do something a little bit different. And the only other one I could think of right off that I just love with her is was it The Killing Game?
Yes. Yes,
The
yes, yes.
two-parter where she's singing and we found out later she could actually sing. Mm-hmm. But she was good in that one too, because her as the German or the French resistance person was totally different than Seven and the Shift, and good acting.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they don't give enough to Seven. She was there for looks.
But this really gives her that chance.
Oh yeah, this solidified her to me, in the solid 100%. Because season
And
one,
the
there's
fact
not
that
enough.
they gave her a costume that actually made sense.
Her in a Starfleet uniform, which is what we always wanted.
Yeah, I don't think the tight-fitting bodysuit would work nowadays.
I don't even think the Voyager uniform would have been good for her. I don't even think the Dominion War era uniforms would have been good for her.
No, that wouldn't work.
The grays, I call it the later next gen. I don't think those were good. This uniform worked for her.
Yes.
It was respectful. It was dignified, and I felt like there was presence there.
And the moment you see her in a Starfleet uniform, you say to yourself, Captain Seven.
Captain Seven. Yep. Cannot wait for that. All right. Well, I guess it's a high recommendation. This whole season, high recommendation.
Very much.
All right. Next week, we cycle around again. We're going to Enterprise.
Yay.
Wheel of Morality, turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
Give us a bit.
Okay. All right. It's a two-parter. It's the pilot. Broken Bow.
Ooh. A
What?
broken bow.
Bow. I was it bow. 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 Bow.
And they say it, Broken Bow, Oklahoma.
It wasn't a broken episode.
Yeah.
It was a good start for Enterprise. It really isn't that bad. But we'll get into it. Cool.
Okay.
Yep. All right. And then the week after, we got movie night, and
Yes.
I cannot wait. Live, Die, Repeat. I keep calling it that.
All you need is kill.
Edge of Tomorrow. That one Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise movie.
That one where I started my crush on Emily Blunt. Oh, wait.
She could play Mary Poppins, and she can pop you in the head in this one.
Yep, she could beat you up and you wouldn't come in.
But yes, we will. That is what the next 2 weeks look like. Brennan, where do the people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky, Brandmart at bluesky.social.
And of course,
And you can find me on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify at Page Turners They Were Not.
Mhm. I got one more thing and we'll sign off.
Okay.
Did you know the name of the shuttle that they were on?
Oh gosh, they said it.
It is. Are you ready for this? It's the shuttlecraft Savick.
Savick. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. According to the Picard logs, which are canon writings of Picard's logs, Savick did eventually reach the rank of captain and was the first captain of the appropriately named USS Titan.
Yes.
Just a little thing. Silly, stupid, but I love it. Anyway, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at CIngle1984. But as always, we end every episode. Qapla' and live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.